ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Local activists want a San Diego police officer fired after they say he posted on social media making light of a man he shot and killed earlier this year. Good evening, I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. Chief David Nisleit says that officer has been suspended without pay. Our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo shows us the post that led to the investigation.
Chief Nisleit apologized to the family for the officer's alleged actions. He says the department has started an internal investigation. This is the post that Chief David Nisleit referred to during a press conference Tuesday afternoon, reportedly made by San Diego police officer Jonathan Lucas on social media. In it, you see a picture of a memorial for Leonardo Ibarra with the hashtag Eastside on the photo, followed by a series of laughing and crying emojis. The post was made on a private Instagram allegedly belonging to Officer Lucas.
I am shocked and disturbed by the reports of this officer's conduct.
Chief Nisleit says Officer Lucas is suspended without pay and had his police powers revoked. Ibarra was shot and killed by police in downtown in June of this year. He was wanted in connection to a robbery. According to SDPD, when officers approached him, he reached into his waistband and pointed something at an officer. Officer Jonathan Lucas was one of two SDPD officers that opened fire.
I want to apologize to the Ibarra family. This unnecessary act only reopens wounds during an already painful time.
Local activist Tasha Williamson says the community wants Officer Lucas terminated for the alleged post.
I interpreted that Jonathan Lucas was boasting about killing someone who was from a neighborhood that is loved.
Williamson hopes the actions taken by the chief today are a message for all of the officers in the department.
This is what should be done to let everyone else know in SDPD that this is not a game, this is not a joke, and taking somebody's life is serious.
If disciplinary action is taken, the chief said it could range anywhere from a suspension all the way to termination. We did reach out to the San Diego Police Officers Association in an effort to speak to Officer Lucas. They referred us back to the police department. Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
Joe Biden and President Trump met in a debate unlike any other tonight, one that many are calling chaotic and ugly, and at times, moderator Chris Wallace struggled to maintain order. The candidates weighed in on a range of issues, from race to the integrity of the November election. As our ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura shows us, they were often talking over one another.
The nation watched Tuesday as President Donald Trump and his challenger, former Vice President Joe Biden, took the debate stage in Cleveland. The candidates on the attack when asked about the pandemic.
He knew it was a deadly disease. What did he do? He's on tape as acknowledging he knew it. He said he didn't tell us or give people a warning of it because he didn't want to panic the American people. You don't panic. He panicked.
If we would have listened to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have died, not 200,000, and one person is too much. It's China's fault. It should have never happened.
Biden was asked whether he would support ending the filibuster or packing the court. That led to a heated exchange.
I'm not going to answer the question.
Why would you answer that
because
question?
The question is
the question is
Justice,
radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
The president also asked about his tax returns from 2016 and 2017.
Is it true that you paid $750 in federal income taxes each of those 2 years?
I paid millions of dollars in taxes. There was a story in one of the papers.
Show us your tax
I paid $38 million 1 year. I paid $27 million.
Show us your tax
1 year.
returns.
I went, you'll see it as soon as it's finished.
Both were asked why voters should trust them with race issues facing the country.
He did a crime bill, 1994, where you call them super predators, African Americans, the super predators, and they've never forgotten it. They've never forgotten it, Joe.
This is a president who has used everything as a dog whistle to try to generate racist hatred, racist division.
The candidates also asked about mail-in ballots and how confident the country should be that it will be a fair election.
The fact is that there are going to be millions of people because of COVID that are going to be voting by mail-in ballots, like he does, by the way. He sits behind the Resolute desk and sends his ballot to Florida.
As far as the ballots are concerned, it's a disaster. A solicited ballot Okay, solicited is okay. You're soliciting, you're asking, they send it back, you send it back. I did that. If you have an unsolicited, they're sending millions of ballots all over the country. There's fraud.
Anthony Pura, ABC 10 News.
Kamala Harris and Mike Pence will square off in a vice presidential debate next Wednesday. Biden and Trump are back for the next presidential debate, October the 15th. Of course, that presidential race is not the only thing that we're going to be voting on in November, and our Scientific 10 News Union Tribune poll is giving us a look at where some of the state's propositions stand. Prop 15, which would raise property taxes on some commercial buildings for schools and local governments, is leading 49 to 21%, with the remainder undecided. Prop 21 would give local authorities the power to enact rent control on some properties older than 15 years, exempting many mom and pops. It's leading 46 to 27%. And Prop 22 would allow Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash drivers to continue to serve as independent contractors with some benefits. That's leading 45 to 31%.
And now to the heat wave baking parts of the county. The red flag warning is over, but inland hot and dry conditions mean the fire danger is still elevated. The rising temperatures didn't stop hikers from heading up the Iron Mountain Trail today in Poway. We spoke with one veteran hiker who was surprised the temperatures neared 100 degrees.
Yeah, if it's going to be 100 or over, stay home. And that is from somebody who hikes 3 or 4 days a week.
Firefighters are asking San Diegans to be vigilant and avoid anything that could spark a wildfire. The heat will be an issue for some parts of this week, and meteorologist Angelica Campos is joining us now. It's possible we may break records.
That's right, Kim. And we're so used to the weather being almost the same every day that it happens, but a lot of people get caught off guard. But we've been telling you about this heat wave since last week, and it is here. The heat advisory has been extended for the East County all the way through 8 p.m. on Friday. Now, for coastal communities, the temperatures will be especially warm tomorrow and Thursday, with this heat advisory ending at 8 p.m. Tonight, temperatures are mostly in the 70s, including Escondido, Fallbrook, Kearney Mesa, even La Jolla, 71 in Carlsbad, 72 in Chula Vista. Temperatures in comparison to yesterday are even warm tonight, but thankfully the winds have subsided. Relative humidity is still very low, and just as you've heard, the combination of the heat and the dry conditions are going to keep the elevated fire danger for the rest of the week. Coming up, I'll show you what the temperatures will look like tomorrow versus the record and how long before we finally get a relief.
All right, Angelica, thank you. Now to the state of emergency in Northern California, where more than 70,000 people have been forced to evacuate from their homes and hundreds of buildings have been lost. ABC's Romina Puga reports on the glass fire ravaging wine country, destroying one of the area's most famous resorts.
The glass fire continues ripping through wine country in areas that haven't burned in more than a century. This new video from the front lines, a sheriff's lieutenant using a garden hose to stop this home from catching fire. At least 80 homes have been destroyed in Napa and Sonoma counties.
It's a very sobering thing to find out that all you've worked for and all that your parents have worked for in a moment is gone.
The iconic wine country Hotel Meadowood Resort not spared either. Further north in Shasta County, the Zog fire scorching more than 60 square miles and claiming at least 3 lives. One couple using garden hoses to fight flames creeping towards their home, one of many there making the decision to wait it out.
For me personally, worst case, I'm survivable, so I'm willing to stay and take the risk and protect my place to the extent that I can.
Officials warn residents in the area, if told to evacuate, to heed those warnings. In Los Angeles, Romina Puga, ABC News.
San Diego County's COVID case numbers are good enough to keep us in the current red tier. Our case rate is 6.7 per 100,000 residents. Supervisor Jim Desmond again argued the state's colored tier system is flawed and every business should be afforded the same opportunity to open up safely. Meantime, California's Health and Human Services Secretary Dr. Mark Ghaly stressed that the state is ensuring that our health plans and our communities can handle the challenges of mental health and substance abuse.
the economic stress, the school closures and distance learning, and frankly, isolation for many of us, really that these stress-related behavioral health conditions are on the rise.
And last week, Governor Newsom signed several mental health bills to give communities the tools to address mental health issues. Here are the latest numbers. The county reported another 251 COVID cases today, bringing our total to just under 47,000. There were also another 5 deaths, bringing our total to 781. San Diego State will hold off on in-person classes for another week. In-person classes were supposed to return next week. Instead, today, the university pushed that date back to October 12th. After that, a limited number of courses will start in the classroom. Those are classes that are deemed essential for about 2,100 students in order to complete their degrees. A spokesperson says that the changes will allow the university to respond to COVID conditions on campus.
9 people are safe after a military cargo plane clipped a fighter jet mid-air above the Coachella Valley. That cargo plane was forced to make an emergency landing in a field while the jet crashed in the desert near the Salton Sea after the pilot ejected. This happened around 4 o'clock this afternoon. That collision happened during this mid-air refueling. A witness said that they heard a loud explosion and then saw the cargo plane trailing smoke while the jet was on fire. The pilot of that jet is okay.